By the way, the people from the Travel Channel, these guys, I guess, were just walking down 6th Avenue in New York, and they decided to come in. Zach Bagans, is that how you say your last name, Zach?
You got it right. Usually
you
they
sound
say,
like trouble.
Usually
you
they
sound
say
like trouble. That's
He is
you got
trouble.
that trouble. Yeah, you sound like trouble.
He's all tatted up and muscly.
Zach, as the host and the lead investigator of the Ghost Adventures, which starts tonight at 10 o'clock on Travel Channel. Nick's an investigator, and Aaron is the cameraman.
What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Thanks. Here's the question. It is said that until you have a ghost experience, you don't believe in ghosts. And I've had a couple of them, and so I didn't believe anything till I had the experience. Did you have some sort of paranormal experience that made you dedicate your life to finding the ghosts?
Yeah. Now, after your experience, are you...
Can we get him on the mic closer? Get him a little closer on the microphone.
Oh, I'm talking right into it. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. That's better. You're right in. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, are you a believer now after your experience?
Well, I had one. My father, I was hiking with my wife in Colorado, and we were not stoned. Mm-hmm. And I don't like heights. And I'm taking a leak at the base of a very high, like, hill or a butte or something. And I heard my dad, who's dead, call to me. Mm-hmm. And I zip up and I look up, and my name is John, and he was going, John. And I look up and I go like an idiot. I go, what? And I climb. I must have gone up 1,000 feet. I mean, and I end up on top of this butte, and I look down, and there's my wife and all these people screaming at me to come down. And it's as clear as I'm talking to you right now. My dad said to me, come here, like that. And I walk up to the top. Now, I don't know if he was trying to kill me or what, because nothing happened when I got up there. Mm-hmm. And then it took me about an hour to get back down. And then in a house we lived in near the beach over some Indian ruins and stuff in the last few years, one of my sons, a girl, would sit on the edge of his bed and talk to him, and we thought he was completely nuts and took him to therapy and everything else. And someone had a seance, and they found that a little girl had been buried on the grounds of our property.
Wow.
And when we were cleaning the property up, I didn't believe any of it. We found this headstone, and we thought that it was of an animal because it was only like a 5 or 6 year. It was from 1938 to 1943 or something. And it, you know what? It said Daisy on it, so I thought it was probably like a Cocker Spaniel or something. But it was the little girl who had been buried on the property. And my son, to this day, talks about this little girl that used to sit on the edge of his bed and talk to him. And we always heard weird stuff. So we had the house smudged. You know what smudging is, Zach?
No, was that cleansed or?
Yeah, you light.
It's when a dirty hippie comes over and lights sage.
Yeah,
and,
you light sage.
I've had to do that
You
twice. I've had to do that twice at my place, but my hauntings were a little more worse than that.
What was yours like?
Well, I mean, my very first experience, I never really believed in this stuff until like 6 years ago. I lived in this little town in Trenton, Michigan, just south of Detroit. And after about a month I moved in there, I smelled like a dead body in my room, my bedroom. Mm-hmm. So I threw all my furniture out. I thought like a rat or a cat died up in that. And after about a month, I'd go to bed, and this lady would scream my name, my full name, like, Zachary, like at every time at 3 a.m. And then finally on the 7th night, she did it again. And I'm just telling you, I was by myself, so there's no girls in my bed with me screaming my name.
Now, I have to ask you this. You're a young guy. You've been described as a guy with muscles and tats and all.
Muscly.
And this is okay.
Muscly,
Were you smoking some dope before you went to bed? No, it's okay.
Man.
It's okay. It doesn't mean that there's no ghost.
My right hand is raised right now.
Did you do any blow?
Were
you doing
tobacco?
No speed? No
absolutely
nothing.
Not. I was working a regular 9-to-5 job, but
Paxil. Were you taking Paxil, antidepressant?
Ambien,
No
because
drugs.
I see things on Ambien. I take it every other night, and I always see something.
Okay,
Really?
so there was a stinky
that's a weird
smell,
side effect.
and Zachary, your name was, and what's weird about it is, it's clear as to me when they call a name, it's clear. It was a clear sound to you, right?
Yeah, it was clear, and I wasn't sleeping. I'd wake up, and she'd still be screaming this,
So what did she do on the 7th day? day?
Well, on the 7th day, I was sleeping on my stomach, and it was like somebody was on my back, like pinning me down. Like, seriously, someone broke into my freaking house and was trying to rob me, was hitting me. I was on my stomach, and then finally, about 30 seconds, the pressure went away. I flipped up, and I saw this woman just chilling at the corner of my bed.
Ooh.
And I looked at her.
Was she hot?
No, I couldn't see her face. I could like kind of see through her, and I saw the silhouette.
There's nothing scarier than waking up and there's a broad at the edge of your bed.
Well,
you see,
scarier when the broad disappears in front of your face.
No, you
even
haven't
scarier.
had the experience.
Although some guys would love for that broad to just disappear.
I'm skeptical, but I'm envious because I want to experience that.
Well, before this is over, I'm going to tell you of another one that I actually told on one of these paranormal shows. But now the woman was yelling, "Zachary, Zachary," and and you saw her. What I don't get,
and we're going 7 times straight too.
Okay, now how do you're gonna? It starts on TV tonight on the Travel Channel, the Ghost Adventures. How is it that these cameras that you use, are they like the light? What are they, it's
the infrared,
infrared
for the
camera,
night vision stuff.
If it's a spirit and you can see it, how come the cameras don't get a good shot of it? I never really see a clear shot of the ghost. Why is that?
Well, we're using, first, I just want to say I went back to 2 years later to my place where I had this experience, and I found out a girl committed suicide in my bathtub, so that was kind of weird.
Ooh.
How long did you stay in this place that stunk and the woman yelled Zachary and sat on the bed?
After the stink and the woman seeing all that, I was scared, man. It was creepy as hell. She didn't want me in there, so I moved out.
Right.
Oh.
But then,
is that what you said to the landlord?
Yeah, pretty much. And 2 years later, when I went back, is when we found out a lady. He failed to tell me this before I signed the papers.
Oh, she had killed herself prior to you living there?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it's and as a licensed realtor in the state of California, Connecticut, New York, Nevada, and Louisiana, you have to have full disclosure. Mm-hmm. And if someone has died in a building or in an apartment or wherever that you're maybe not a renter, but certainly if you're going to buy it, you've got to put that in the disclosure.
Well, that was not told to me.
Let me just say, as a Jew, you should have got a deal on it. Send somebody off themselves in that.
But I do want to say something though. Nick, Aaron, and myself, we're filming right now, and our new episodes are airing right now. But you guys were talking about voodoo and witchery.
Yeah.
That's very ironic because we just did a frickin' voodoo ritual with Bloody Mary in Louisiana because we just did an episode filming at Magnolia Plantation.
Right.
You did hear, is that coming up on your show?
Yes, it's coming up. Tonight is Castillo de San Marcos, which is 9 p.m. on the Travel Channel. We're also doing a live chat where people can talk to us on travelchannel.com. But I wanted
are we going to see a ghost tonight?
That's my question.
Yes.
That's my question. Because I've watched these other shows, like A&E has this show, and it is the lame. The guy's like, tonight. It's like the voiceover show.
Yeah, what makes yours different? There's so many of these
No, we
shows.
actually capture stuff.
Yeah, we capture
stuff, and you can see it.
And I'm down with it. Like, I believe it just, I haven't had a full-on experience like Jay has had, but I've had little,
See, I was the same way. Moments. I mean, I was a skeptic for the longest time,
right.
But then when I met Zach and he told me about his experience.
Who is this? Is this Nick?
This is Nick, yes.
This is my partner in crime right here.
You're called the investigator. You're the investigator?
I'm something like that,
What makes you an investigator? Like, do you have a degree in, like, CSI or
No,
something?
not at all. It comes from experience and professionalism. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time now, and after Zach and I made this documentary and we captured some amazing evidence, like a full-body apparition on a stacked night vision camera that actually followed me out of a room.
That's awesome.
And we brought it to a third-party
The thing
analyst.
followed you. Wait a minute. The thing followed you out of a room.
Out of a room, yep. And I didn't know it at the time, but I got this weird feeling. But when we played it back, when we went home and we actually played it back on our computers and everything,
it was scary.
That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. And I called up Zach and I'm like, you got to come over here and check out this footage and see what we captured. And it was all over the news and everything.
Jay is floored by this. He's not used to ghosts following him. He's just used to ghosts telling him to climb mountains and exercise.
No. But when I lived in Woodstock, New York, I used to buy antique furniture from these two gay guys, Phil and Bob.
Hi.
That's right. It was Phil and Bob. And I would have them over to my house and drinking tea and all. And friends of mine like Shuley would come over and they go, "What are you doing there with the two gay guys having tea?" I said, "Well, that's, this is my life when I'm not, shooting up." So, Bob died. A guy came in, they doubled his rent, and Bob died.
Bob's dead.
And I had my girlfriend with me, first time ever at my house in Woodstock. And I go to shop around, and Phil's crying, and I said, what happened? They doubled the rent, and Bob dropped dead that day. But Bob wanted you to have this chair, he said. And so I take the chair home.